Good evening. Actually, it's like 10:24 p.m. and I've been super busy today. I have something I'd like to share with you. Um, but first of all, to get started, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever, hold on a second. Um, have you ever had to eat crow or eat liver? I'm eating liver right now. Um, Eating liver and onions because I love liver. I think it's my favorite food, and I could eat it every single day. But I saw and I read that it has too much nutrition and should be eaten just once a week. But I could eat it every single day. So I'm eating liver and onions. Here are the onions, caramelized. And I took my time. Maybe I should stop eating because I can't stand hearing people eat. So maybe you don't want to hear this. But um, I used to hate liver. And when I was a child, my dad used to make, he'd make us eat liver and kidneys and ox tongue and all sorts of stuff I thought was really gross. And we had chocolate about once a month. And he would break off these little pieces of chocolate and then store the rest in the freezer. Anyhow, come to find out in my later years that liver is extremely, extremely nutritious. And that's why when animals, kill other animals, liver is usually, besides what's in the gut, liver is usually the first organ that they go after. Anyway, I'm bringing this up right now. I made this liver tonight, and I was just thinking about how hard it is to change in the face of information that contradicts our beliefs. And it was like yesterday morning, I had a meeting with a couple of colleagues, and I was asked, what would I do if I found out that everything that I believed my whole life was wrong or was not correct or that I'd been lied to? And I was presented with a bunch of information, a bunch of new information. What would I do? How would I handle it? And much to their surprise, I said I would be cool with it. Because quite a while ago, I just made this commitment to myself that um, I would be willing, I'd be willing to let it all go. And I've had to do that. Here I am. I'm eating liver, and these are potatoes and carrots with lots and lots of butter. I don't know how much butter there is. It's sort of like, would you like some potatoes and carrots with your butter? It's like almost there. And it's delicious. Anyway, yes, in the past, I have had to change everything I thought was real. I'll give you an example. Most of my life, I was extremely sickly. I get pneumonia every year, bronchitis every year. I've had pleurisy more times than I can count. When I was younger, I was hospitalized for pneumonia. I mean, at least 6 times hospitalized. I had pneumonia when I was born. My lungs are just, I don't have the best lungs. And when I think I must have been 16, 17, I learned about veganism and I learned about cleansing and fasting and all of that. And I made a promise to myself that when I went to college, I was going to become a vegan. But until then, I was reading up on it as much as I possibly could. And I fasted. And once I was on my own and I was in college, I became a vegan. And I did a lot of fasting, and my health improved tremendously. So, I don't know, what do you call it? My eczema was gone. My snoring was gone. My, allergies were gone. I mean, I was on top of the world. And that lasted a few years. But then after I had my first child and I breastfed, actually, while I was pregnant with my first, I wound up on bed rest because I almost miscarried her. So last 3 months on bed rest. Anyway, I don't want to go down. I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. The the gist of it is that I um, what I really, really believed in and what really worked for me in the short term wound up really hurting me in the long term. So now I'm like, I love meat so much. And I mostly like to eat beef and a little bit of fruit. And I like my vegetables cooked. And that works for me. And it works for my gut. Anyhow, back to this piece of paper. And I have, I don't know, at least 10 more like this pieces of paper. I spent some time this evening on the Democratic website and the Republican website. The Democratic website is, hold on. It's democrats.org, and the Republican website is gop.gov, greatopportunityparty.gov. And I'm really at the very beginning of both websites. And I'll tell you the differences that I've noticed between the two, and even the differences that I've noticed from maybe 8 years ago was the last time that I spent this much time looking at both platforms. So I have this piece of paper and it's called America Is, and this is what each party says they believe that America is. And I am not going to put any, I am not going to put any judgments on it. These are just my notes, and anybody can go and look for themselves, but I just broke everything down by category. So the Republicans say about their platform, and this is the preamble, right? That they are a platform. They say this platform is an invitation and a roadmap and a handbook and a guide and a manual. These are sort of like my short notes. I'm not going too much into depth, but a roadmap to da da da, a handbook for da da da, a guide to, a manual for, and these are other things that they say. Whereas all platforms, this is before the preamble, I'm sorry. Whereas all platforms are snapshots of the historical contexts in which they are born, and parties abide by their policy priorities rather than political rhetoric. So the Republican because the Republicans didn't do their national convention in, I believe it was in North Carolina together, they basically decided to keep keep the same platform that they had during the presidential campaigning between Trump and Clinton. So anyway, so they really haven't. When you read the preamble, some of the language, you're like, what, am I in a time warp or something? But the language, they kept the language because they decided as a party not to change anything. They felt that they didn't need to change anything, but they will in 2024 when they have their next convention. But they weren't able to have this one the last time because of coronavirus. So Republicans believe in American exceptionalism, that the United States is unlike any other country on earth. They affirm the Declaration of Independence, that all are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They say the Constitution is our founding document, written not as a flexible document, but as an enduring covenant. And they say our constitutional system, this is what they believe, is limited government, separation of powers, federalism, rights of the people must be uncompromised for future generations. I'm sorry, I'm reading kind of slowly because my handwriting, I'm like, what did I write? um, they say, when we sing God Bless America, we are asking for God's help and earn that help by recommitting ourselves to the ideas and ideals that are the true greatness of America. They say people are the ultimate resource and that the people, not the government, are the best stewards of our country's God-given natural resources. They say we wish for peace, so we something on strength. Sorry. We seek friendship with all peoples and all nations, but we recognize and are prepared to deal with evil in the world. This platform is optimistic because the people are optimistic. This platform lays out in clear language the path to making America great and united again. So that is the preamble to the Republican platform. And then after reading the preamble, then they break everything down by, like the economy, armed forces, foreign policy, blah, 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 healthcare. Okay, now this is the preamble to the Democratic platform. Twice they say that America is an idea that has endured. Well, twice they say America is an idea, and then they also say one of those two, America is an idea that has endured and evolved. So I assume they believe that America is still evolving. They say protest is among the highest forms of patriotism. We never stop trying to build a perfect union. Let's see. So I was looking for mention in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Republic and the Founding Fathers, and I didn't see any of that at all in the preamble, but I assume that that language is on their platform, but just for the preamble, that's not there at all. They mention fascism, communism, and then twice Langston Hughes, the African-American writer and poet, is mentioned, and they write his poem, "Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet and yet must be, the land where every man is free." So yeah, those are the preambles. I'm gonna make more videos and go in depth about what's on the platform specifically, but I want to show you something. Hold on a second. So these are my notes. These are my more specific notes that I took. I don't know how many pages these are. They're quite a few pages. Some of them are both front and back. And the things that I took note on, of course, one side I have, the R's and the other side the D's. And I was looking at language, I was feeling the language out, how it made me feel. So, for instance, I'll give you a couple of examples. Republicans, when they speak about American citizens, they say the people and our country, and Democrats say our people. So that was one difference that really struck me. When it comes to racism or economy or things like that, I don't know. I just Democrat language was very rich in emotion. There are many, many adjectives and adverbs and lots of emotional language. So the language is very descriptive, very engaging. I was reading and it just brought emotions up in me. And I found that on the Republican preamble, there was just one part where there was just a little bit of emotion, but um, there weren't many emotional words. It was mostly, this is what we stand for, this is what we believe in, focus on the Constitution, Bill of Rights, uh, limited government, trust that people, individuals, families, communities know what's best for them. So it sounded to me more like Republicans' platform is to have a trusting relationship between the people and the government and just kind of get out of the way and limit regulations. Hi, Jasmine. How are you? That's my cousin Jasmine. Thanks for coming on. And the Democrat platform was promising a lot. Maybe I can give you an example. Let me see, let me see. So, for instance, when it comes to racism, promising a more equitable